Okay, first of all, a court case that you mentioned ruled that atheism was equivalent to a religion for First Amendment purposes. This is simply to keep people from denying atheists the same rights that religious followers have. That does not mean that atheism is a religion, because it is not a belief system, but a lack of a belief. Furthermore, no one is teaching atheism in schools. Evolution does not equal atheism, and evolution does not equal religion. Yes, I'm sure most, if not all, atheists believe evolution, but that in itself means nothing. Most, if not all, atheists believe in atomic theory. Does that make atomic theory atheistic by nature? Also, if evolution was in fact nothing more than atheism repackaged, then it would be impossible for theists to adhere to evolutionary theory. But they do. Theists from many religions acknowledge the fact that creatures do evolve. Also, when Darwin first published his Origin of the Species, he was still a believer in Christianity. I think you acknowledged this. It wasn't until later that he became a professed agnostic. Evolution does not imply there is no God at all. These are your own prejudices against evolution, not what evolution actually teaches or implies. Also, evolution is not a principle of atheism. As I said in my response to your Christianity versus atheism video, there is only one principle of atheism, and that is the lack of belief in a god or gods. Evolution is a scientific theory, completely divorced from atheism, as it makes no claims as to whether there was a creator or not. It is taught because it is science. Science that has been studied and observed and backed up with so much evidence that there is no longer any real contention against it. As for natural selection, you're inserting your own preconceived notions onto the idea. No one has asserted that by natural selection, animals evolve by chance. Let's look at a basic definition of natural selection. It is the concept developed by Charles Darwin that genes which produce characteristics that are more favorable in a particular environment will be more abundant in the next generation. Obviously, it's a really simplistic explanation of it, but there's nothing about chance there. No definition I've looked at online said anything about chance, in fact. And I really can't believe that you said that evolution shouldn't be taught in schools because it's unnecessary. By that logic, we shouldn't be teaching a great big chunk of science in high school, since those of us who aren't going into those fields aren't going to need it in college. Excuse me. So now, whether or not students plan on pursuing a degree in biology is immaterial. They should still know their basic science. As an English major, I really didn't need any of the pre-calculus that I learned in high school. Should we not teach advanced mathematics then, since those who aren't going into that field won't need it? We don't use advanced math in our daily lives. We can mostly get away with addition and subtraction, with maybe a little bit of geometry thrown in there from time to time. So, advanced mathematics are unnecessary, correct? Well, obviously not. It's incredibly important that we expose students to math and science, even if these aren't subjects they plan on studying further. We don't deny students access to knowledge just because we think they don't need it. And yes, they do teach evolution in much further detail in university-level biology classes, but they still expect students to have that foundation of evolution that they learned in high school. Besides, I'm pretty sure that you said you were 15 in one of your videos. How do you know what college students should know and what is supposedly unnecessary? Finally, you have no understanding of what a scientific theory is and how it relates to laws. First, it is not a hierarchical relationship. Laws are not former theories, and theories do not become laws. I recently found a site that explained the difference very well, and I'm going to read you these definitions. You can find the link to this site in the sidebar. Anyway, here's what it says about the definition of a law. Laws are generalizations about what has happened, from which we can generalize about what we expect to happen. They pertain to observational data. The ability of the ancients to predict eclipses had nothing to do with whether they knew just how they happened. They had a law, but not a theory. Here's what it says about a theory. Theories are explanations of observations, or of laws, in other words. The fact that we have a pretty good understanding of how stars explode doesn't necessarily mean we could predict the next supernova. We have a theory, but not a law. So, no. Evolution is not a law and never will be a law. just as general relativity or atomic theory will never be laws. That doesn't make them any less valid. Also, there is proof for evolution. It has been observed. Denying that doesn't make it untrue, so my suggestion is that you research the subject further, since you obviously aren't learning enough in your science class. And no one is trying to build a barrier between religion and science, except in the case where religious beliefs contradict what we know to be true within science. If a religion teaches that the earth is flat, they do not have the right to propose that as an alternate theory to the fact that the earth is a sphere. To end this, let me ask you a few questions. Do you deny the idea of cells being the basic unit of structure in every living thing? Do you deny that microorganisms are the cause of many diseases? Do you deny that matter is composed of atoms? I'm going to assume that no, you do not deny any of these three things. And yet, according to your logic, you should, because the first is cell theory, the second is germ theory, and the third is atomic theory. They are not laws, and yet we accept them as having been scientifically proven. The same is true of the theory of evolution.